Hello and welcome back to Transform at Cannes Lion 2025, where I'm really happy to be joined by Arnab Ray now, who is the Executive Creative Director at Landor India. Thank you very much for joining me, Arnab.
Thanks.
I think the first thing I really wanted to ask you, being from India, is what the market is out there right now. So if we consider how fast pace it is right now, particularly in design and that kind of thing, what are some of the unique trends that you're seeing out there that perhaps differ a little bit in the brand design scene compared to over here?
Yeah. No, what I feel is that the economy in India is touch wood, not bad, right? Like I think it's a booming market. There's a lot of money in terms of like for businesses and for growth. And when there is a market where we have people who want to grow, who want to do well, who want to create new businesses or also join like from an entrepreneurship point of view, a lot of startups as well as big businesses. So if the economy is doing well, then there is always a need to launch brands or to refresh brands or to come up with new products. And if that happens, we are happy, right? Like so generally in India, I see there's a lot of hunger and opportunity for brands, for people to come up with brands, for people to launch brands that are kind of competitive with the bigger corporates as well. So we have a mix. I think the bigger corporates also find that there's a huge economy of scale, right, in India because it's a big market. So hence that economy of scale and with that opportunity, there's a lot of hunger for them as well. And even for boutique, small brands, even for startups, India is a tech center as well, right? So a lot of tech-led startups as well. So which creates for us a good opportunity of having work across the board, a lot of diversity in terms of clients, and a lot of diversity in terms of the kind of work they want, the kind of branding work they want. Again, there are different levels. Some people don't have that much money to directly engage with a big agency. So they go for the boutique ones, while some of the people have the money or they're funded, or the big corporates want to go with big agencies as well. So there's a mix, I think. And it's a good time for branding. There's a lot of awareness because of social media, because of technology, because of the way even marketeers or people, entrepreneurs, marketeers, whoever's doing business, their exposure is much more, right, towards what's happening out there in the world. And hence, even their requirement or their desire to get good design is high, so higher than ever. So I think there is that beautiful demand of a lot of work, but also good work, good quality work, which keeps us on the edge, keeps us on our toes, and it's always a responsibility to kind of create work that really matters, work that can make a difference for our clients. Yeah, so that it's good.
And what do you consider to be high quality work, as you were talking about there? Because there might be certain trends that are being followed by other agencies, for instance, that might become cliched or sort of unpopular in a short period of time. But how do you ensure that the work you do actually has that kind of longer lasting feel to it?
Yeah, I've been hearing this even in this in this edition of Cannes as well. Like, at the heart of everything is humanity and human emotions and insights, right? Truth, human truth. I think so. If we continue building, or you're kind of ideating over human truths, or you're kind of building on insights, right? And coming up with those genuine insights, ideas, genuine solutions. I think that will always be evergreen. Like, ideas are always evergreen, right? So the better the idea, the beautiful way you can kind of see the world and make a difference. Provide that difference. I think that will always remain. I think that's not trendy. That's everlasting, right? Everything else is trend. Everything else is coming up with how it aids that idea and how it aids the insight to come out into the world, be felt by the consumers. Whether it's technology, whether it's craft, that's execution. That's how you kind of make it come alive. That's how you can scale it. That's how you can put it out in the world. And again, it's medium agnostic, right? So I feel like no matter what, whether it's whatever trend, whatever your technology is evolving, AI is hot topic. But again, it's always at a service of a beautiful idea and a beautiful insight that will really matter, that will really connect with the people, right? I think so.
Yeah.
As long as that's happening, I think you have got something good. I think that can never go out of trend. And as creatives, whether you're in a design agency or a marketing agency or whatever, right? Like when you're creating and working for brands, if you keep that at the core, I think you'll be fine. Yeah.
Absolutely, and of course you just mentioned AI, which I mean is so ubiquitous. I mean everyone is talking about it here, of course. Perhaps you could tell me a little bit about AI from the Indian perspective. So particularly, brand design agencies. How has it been taken out there? Is it something that's starting to be used? Do they have a different attitude out there, perhaps compared to here? There's a lot of skepticism, but there's also a lot of uptake as well. So what's sort of going on in that field?
So I think in terms of AI, right? I think right now it is at a very explorative stage.
Yes.
People are having a lot of fun, right? Exploring, understanding it, and it's more useful, like from a brand point of view, from a design agency point of view. I speak for myself and I speak for what we are doing at Landor. It's more to bring ideas to life at a conceptual stage. It's not at a production stage, or it's not at at a stage where you can release it, because there are a lot of rights issues as well. So you cannot just make something on AI and launch it for a brand. And brands are also sensitive about that. But people like WPP, like we are part of WPP, investing in AI, like WPP Open is a full-fledged AI program for WPP, where anybody in WPP can use, and they are rights managed as well. So if you create on WPP Open, you can actually, some of it you can launch it, and you can. So people are using that as well, and even investments from big agencies and big holding companies are actually helping it evolve day by day, right? So that creatives, and it's not just a creative thing. AI is not a creative person's purview. Even the strategist can use it, client servicing can use it, new business can use it. Everybody can use it in service of whether it's growth or whether it's creativity or it's thinking. But it's an aid, it's a tool. That's what I'm seeing. People are exploring, they're using it as a tool, but our push and our drive, and especially mine as a creative leader, is always to first think and put your ideas on paper, sketch. That cannot be replaced. Your human ingenuity or your unique thinking abilities cannot be replaced. I think then AI can help and make it come alive, or visualize and put it in front of clients for them to imagine, and ultimately get produced in a certain way. But again, it's a great tool, and it's also efficient because it's AI. When people like Adobe, etc., they're using AI to cut down on processes, right? Like in a simple thing like Adobe Photoshop, it used to take hours to crop things and replace backgrounds. Now you just click and your backgrounds are cleaned up, and I think that's great. Just to give people back time, because again, I just heard it in a talk today. Like, time is the most precious thing we have, and which is that. So how does AI help give back time? How does AI help people in their lives? How does AI bring something out in a very efficient manner or a scalable manner? I think those are the things that are really interesting about AI. But it's not about how AI can replace, but it's how about AI can aid, right, in effectiveness, efficiency, putting it out there, helping imagine, conceptualize. Like, you could conceptualize. We have a lot of experienced designers as well in India, in the Indian team. And when they're developing spatial design and they're using AI to showcase it to the clients, because you can prompt and you can create worlds, right? So when you're doing that, it's letting you come up with worlds that otherwise would take a lot of time to build, or would be probably hard to explain to the client. So AI is helping there, right? AI is helping in even branding work, like it's helping in really cute, creating beautiful avatars of the identity, and doing storytelling, helping brands and identities, even logos, do a lot of storytelling through technology. So that's great. Yeah.
Absolutely, and it sort of raises the question of the future of brand design and whether or not you feel more optimistic or pessimistic. I suppose the way you're talking about AI, I think you see it as something that's going to lead to a positive impact if used in the right way. Still might be licensing issues and that kind of thing early on, but might become more viable in the future. So what are your overall thoughts about the future of brand design? In 10 years' time, do you think it's going to be in a better place because of all this new novel technology and that kind of thing?
I think brands will be there, right?
Yes.
As long as brand is there, the need is there, as long as consumers are there, brands are going to be there and they're going to be across in your lives. And I don't think that's going to change. I think only thing that will evolve is the mediums, right? What the world where the brand exists today, the kind of medium it exists today, that might evolve. So I think from a branding agency point of view, we need to be cognizant of how the touch points are going to evolve, how the consumer behavior is going to evolve, right? So today, when we are pitching work to a brand, and when we are showcasing work, we should showcase them how will the brand live even 10 years later, and maybe AI can help in imagining what can a touch point be, a relevant touch point for a brand, or touch points be for a particular brand or for the category or segment or whatever, right? So we need to think ahead in terms of how people will consume brands will evolve, and keep that mind and design to that. If we can do that, I'm sure even the way the design, like earlier, before digital, identities used to exist in simple example, right? Like in billboards or signages, logos could be complicated. Logos could be, because they're always at a scale, right? But then came digital, then came social media, and your logo was reduced to this small, like a display picture, right? Identity. So then, the beauty of it is how can you minimize it? How can you craft it so that it can live digitally and physically, online, offline worlds equally in an impactful way? So that is now. And then the brands will start moving and live on moving surfaces, and maybe more technology-led surfaces and mediums. So how will your identity, how will your brand, how will your assets live and breathe and talk? So I feel that's how we need to think of how the world will evolve, how the consumers will evolve, where they're consuming brands will evolve, and then keep that in mind and design to that, and evolve the design as well, right? You have to think for that, and design to that,
It's going to be very exciting to see where the future takes us, as always is. But just finally, while I have you here, I think it'd be a mistake not to ask you about some of the work you're doing at Landor India.
Yeah.
So tell me about what was your most favourite project over the past 12 months, if you have one.
We did, I think, from a project point of view, there are many. I mean, there's just a lot of work happening, a lot of interesting work. I mean, a couple of projects I can say is one is for Coca-Cola. We work with the local teams, and Coca-Cola always wants to be more integrated into culture, right? Because it's such a global brand, but it's in every country almost, and so they found an opportunity that India is big on festivals. We have a lot of festivals. So how can that be a platform for Coca-Cola to get closer to the people, right? To Indians and to the culture, and closer to people's hearts. So festival is a vehicle again, and we developed a bespoke, festival branding for Coca-Cola last year. It was across 6 festivals across 7 states. More than 20 million people would have seen it, because of course India has the numbers in terms of the viewership, etc. So it was interesting project because I recollect this because it was a good way to bring 2 worlds together. One is a global icon, right, together, and then there are cultural nuances. So when they blend together, it becomes more bespoke. So it doesn't feel unrelatable. It doesn't feel generic. So because the ribbon and the Coke bottle assets are like world famous, right? The icons. How do you take that and make it come alive? How do you make it really live and breathe the culture, the nuances, the vibrancy, and then be fluidic enough to mold from one festival to the other? Because there are nuances there also, right? A certain festival is for a certain set of people or region or faiths. Another faith, another set of people how does that kind of, and another state, another language, so how does that kind of blend in? So it was quite an interesting extensive project, and it was really challenging, but it was also a lot, very satisfying to kind of come up with that for a global brand, and then make it meet at a very local level and make it relatable as well. Yeah.
Well, often the most challenging work does end up being the most rewarding.
Absolutely.
Arnab, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Jay.